to Around the Clock. I'm your host, Yolanda Greaves. And as we go through today's show, we're going to be hitting different spots here in the high school. We're going to be speaking with Joe White of Ashland Community Theater and talking about their upcoming production Plaza Suite. We're also going to be talking about Class Day and graduation. Of course, we'll have our Selectmen's update and some other stops on our Around the Town tour. So, stay with us as we go and transition through the high school for Around the Clock today. It's time for the Selectmen's update. This is from the meeting on June 1st, 2016. We did a reorg at the beginning of the meeting. Joe Mignani is still our chair. Carl Hackinson was elected as vice chair, and I get to remain as clerk. We had a full meeting, and we had a change of liquor license. There will be a new restaurant opening. Kelly's on Front Street is being transferred to Erica's Ristorante. They are going to be a family Italian restaurant, which is interesting because we've just been saying it would be great to have a good Italian restaurant here in Ashland. They are looked to be opening sometime by the end of the summer. We also got a review of and voted to approve the Audubon Conservation Restriction. This is for the Warren Woods for the full 120 acres. There was originally a conservation restriction put on the back 101 acres, but when the vote was taken to combine the front portion with the back, it was determined that it would be best to have one conservation restriction. So now that that has been signed with Mass Audubon, they'll be taking care of and helping us with the conservation restriction on that property. We then had an update by Regita Puramita. She is the town engineer, worked with our Public Works Department and our Department of Water, talking about a meter program. So they're looking to exchange water meters for homes so that it's easier for them to be read. They don't have to be read manually. They can be read via trucks going by and picking up the signal. So if you've gotten a letter from our water department regarding the change of your meter, they have asked that you reach back out to them and do that exchange. It does two things. One, it makes it easier to do the actual checking and reading of the water meters, but also some of them are having some leakage, and it will just make it more efficient to do the reading of the water meters. We then went into some old and new business. We had a BAA grant request from our spring round that we had some extra questions with from the Junior States of America at the high school, and we approved that. We also heard from Steve Greenberg, who is president of the Ashland Sporting Association, and he came and asked for some dates for the Ashland Half Marathon. There'll be one in October and then one again in March. So if you like to run a 5K or a half marathon, make sure you go to the Ashland Sporting Association's website and you can sign up for those. We also talked about some hearings that we're going to be having for takings related to a sewer main construction that's happening over on 135. We also looked at information regarding maintenance of some property, and then we spoke with Campanelli and Thorndike regarding some rail transit district sewer and water infrastructure changes and things that they'd like to get started on. There was no vote taken on that. We had to run it by the state because it is part of a MassWorks grant funding, and we have to make sure we can do the change of funding. So that'll be discussed further at our next Board of Selectmen meeting. We approved some minutes. We had some further discussion on town council. And we have approved a one-year contract for our town council. We got an update from our town manager. He did a recap of the second night of town meeting where the budget was then voted on and some zoning reforms were passed. He also did an update on some information from the Inspector General's office on some issues with our health agent that are being discussed. We looked at our recycling policy. We did an update on the Girl Scout property. So the town has approved and signed a purchase and sale agreement for the Girl Scout property, also known as Camp Winnetasket. It's over on the Ashland Reservoir. The purchase has been approved. It was approved at town meeting in the spring. And then now we'll move forward and we'll start looking at a possible wastewater treatment plant using that that property, not for the building itself, but for some of the run out of the wastewater treatment plant. But that's a long-term process. But this property was up for sale, and we felt it was worthwhile purchasing the property. We're also going to look at what else we can do with that property, because there are cabins and there's a beachfront there. Maybe we can tie something in with our rec department. We also talked about a capital planning grant that we received as part of our community compact, which we signed last year. We were given $30,000 by the state to look at how we look at our capital program, to put a strong capital program in place, and to use some grant money that we were given by the state to make sure that we're doing a thorough process, using all the boards and using all the committees that are necessary, and getting a good long-term planning in place so we can look at some of the buildings that we need to do, as well as some of the maintenance for some of our other properties. And that was it. It seemed to have gone long, but it was a good meeting. There will be a presentation on June 9th for the Rail Transit District, as well as a meeting on June 14th. And we'll talk to you more about that as we talk about upcoming events here in Ashland. Welcome to Around the Clock. We are at the Ashland High School because we're going to be talking with the Ashland Community Theater and talking about their production. I have with me Joe White. Joe, welcome to Around the Clock. Actually, welcome back.
Thank you very much for having me back.
We are here to talk about your 5th production, Plaza Suite, that's coming up in June. Yeah. Tell us a little bit about the show.
It's a Neil Simon show, Plaza Suite. It was a play he did back in 1968, and it's a 3-act play, all taking place in the Plaza Hotel.
So this is different for Ashland Community Theater in that it's not a self-scripted show. How has that been different to work with for your cast and for yourself?
It's been different, challenging. There's some good aspects of it, I think, and some challenging aspects with dealing with the legalities of getting a known entity and dealing with all the copyright and what we can and can't do on stage. But it's also been a pleasure to have a script that we can work with, know that we don't have to worry about modifying because we're not allowed to touch it and change it. So it's different aspects, but both good and positive.
Now, it's 3 separate scenes, and you've brought in 3 new directors that have never worked with Ashland Community Theater.
Correct.
What has that been like?
Once again, I think it's challenging, but it also fits in the model of what we're trying to do in the theater. We're trying to offer people as many opportunities to write, act, and in this case, direct. So we have 3 different scenes that are not connected other than the fact that they're actually in the actual Plaza Hotel. And it gives 3 different new directors an opportunity to become part of Ashland Community Theater, which maybe they wouldn't have been before.
Okay. Now we also have Aiden Shander Reynolds with us. Aiden, you are in the show. Can you tell us a little bit about the part and/or parts that you play?
Sure. So I play the bellhop in the first scene, and that's like the introduction to the scene. I have a couple lines in that. And then in the second act, I play a waiter, and I wait. And then in the third act, I play Borden Eisler, who's getting married to Mimsy, and apparently he's going to be my father-in-law. Lucky me. And then
if all goes well, we won't give you the ending away.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. I might walk out. I don't know.
You never know.
And then and it's been fun. I think I'm the only character that works under all 3 directors.
Yeah.
So it's interesting from my point of view because I get to see how they all have their own acting or directing style, how they want us all to act and stuff. So it's definitely it's different. It's kind of interesting. I like it.
So what brought you to Ashland Community Theater?
So lucky me, my mother, Katie Shander Reynolds, she's a co-founder with Joe White, and she kind of loops me into stuff sometimes, and I loop her into stuff sometimes. And it's fun. I definitely enjoy it.
Okay, I'm going to ask you to hand that back to Joe. And
Aiden was part of the stage crew, one of our earlier productions, and he was part of our miniseries, The Interns, and Therapy Sessions, the miniseries as well. So he's now making his debut for Ashland Community Theater this spring.
So what are you doing for Plaza Suite, Joe?
Well, I'm producing, again, this is the 5th production, which I enjoy tremendously. I'm also acting in it. I'm playing Roy Hubley, father of Act 3.
Okay.
Yeah.
So if someone wants to come see Plaza Suite, how would they do that?
Well, they could go to the Ashland Community Theater website, ashlandcommunitytheater.com. Our show is June 23rd, 24th, and 25th. It's Thursday, Friday, and Saturday night, all at 7:30. Tickets are $10 online. There's a link right to our website. And at the door, they're $12. So there's an incentive to go online to buy them in advance.
So what helped you choose, or what made you choose Plaza Suite as your first, known show to do?
I think that's a great question. I think it fit into the model that we've done. The last 4 shows, we've had a theme. So this play has a theme of stories that are taking place in the Plaza Hotel, different people, not all connected to each other, but so it stays within that theme. It also 3 different acts gives us an opportunity to have 3 different directors, multiple cast as well, so more people could be involved.
And because you've had one director before, so where did the 3 new directors come from?
We hound them. We actually, when we were looking for new directors for this performance, Rich, your husband, myself, and other people just spread the word around that we have an opportunity here. And actually it worked out well because all the directors are very interested in doing a play, but they weren't interested in maybe doing a whole play. So the one act was actually more enticing to them. So we found Karen and Julie and Chris who were directing the 3 acts, and they were all have been fantastic so far to work with. It's been enjoyable, and you've worked with all 3, so yeah.
Great. Well, thank you for coming on Around the Clock. Aidan, thank you for coming on for your first time. And actually, before I let you go, can you hand him the microphone?
Yes.
Lucky
I know
me.
what you're going to do.
You know what I'm going to do.
Yes.
So when I have new guests come on Around the Clock, I have a question for them.
Sure thing.
It's not going to be too difficult.
I think I can handle it.
Is there something about you, Aidan Shander Reynolds, that people may not know that you'd be willing to share with our viewers?
Something that you may not know. Yikes. I've played sports my whole life. I don't know. People might not know that.
Did you have a favorite sport?
Soccer, actually, and I ran track. And I just got into acting. I didn't join until very late in my life, for my short life so far, but it's been fun. And I got roped into this, which is a lot of fun. And I've been enjoying that.
It's It's amazing what parents will pull you into.
Right, isn't it?
Yep.
It's intriguing, to say the least.
Good. Well, why don't you give that back to Joe?
Well, you've been a pleasure to work with, sir.
So, Joe, thank you for coming on Around the Clock. It's always a pleasure. And what will you be doing in the fall?
Well, I'd like to tell you, but I'm not going to, because what I like to do is get through the spring show. I have some ideas in the back of my head about what we're thinking of doing, but I want to, go through the show, sit back maybe a couple of days and meet with the people that are going to be putting on the fall show with me and get some ideas out there, and then maybe I'll come back and talk to you about it again.
Well, I hope so, because I always love talking to you and hearing what the Ashland Community Theater is doing. It's such a great organization. It's a fairly new organization to Ashland, but it just brings some great things to Ashland. So thank you for bringing us Ashland Community Theater. Thank you for coming on Around the Clock. And as they say in theater, break a leg.
And thank you so much for all the support from the beginning, Yolanda. So much. Thank you so much.
You're very welcome. We continue our Around the Town tour to the high school and Class Day. Class Day for the class of 2016 was the first time that we got to see the new robes. Usually at Ashland they've had both white robes and blue robes, but this year they've started a new tradition, and all the students were wearing blue robes with white sashes that had the A and the class of 2016 on it. Class Day is sort of the first day for the students to prepare and get ready for graduation. Some of the scholarships that get presented on Class Day, about half of them, and there's also some great music celebration and singing that happens and presentations that happen at Class Day.
You know, a dream is like a river, ever changing as it flows, and the dreamer's just a vessel that must follow where it goes, trying to learn from what's behind you, never knowing what's in store. It makes each day a constant battle just to stay between the shores. Yes, I will sail my vessel till the river runs dry, like a bird upon the wind. These waters are my sky. I'll never reach my destination if I never try. So I will sail my vessel till the river runs dry.
Thank you.
Sunday ready for the Ashland High School Class of 2016 graduation. It's hard to believe, I'm sure, for these seniors that they're getting ready to graduate and go off. We are going to go talk to a few and then take you through the graduation ceremonies. So we're talking with our first group of seniors. We're going to ask them to give us their name and what they're doing after graduation. Not immediately today after graduation, but maybe in the fall. So first and last name, and what are you going to do?
My name is Amanda DeBoni, and I am going to UMass Amherst for nursing.
Hi, my name is Gala Froni. I'm going to be going to Syracuse University and double majoring in modern foreign language and biology.
Very nice.
Hi, I'm Jenna Moscar-Tolo. I'll be going to the University of Tampa to study marine biology.
Hello, my name is Eric Joe, and I will be going to Harvard University in the fall to study. I don't know what I'm going to study, but yeah.
Congratulations on Salutatorian. How are you feeling right this minute?
Very excited, very nostalgic, kind of emotional. It's all just kind of a mess of going forward and looking back at the same time.
So I haven't had a chance to talk to anyone else. This year there has been a change in the gowns that you guys are wearing. Thoughts on that?
I mean, I think that it lets a lot of people, it definitely emphasizes inclusion in the fact that, you know, there aren't two groups of people. We are one graduating class together. I think that it was a very kind and thoughtful gesture.
Thank you. You have left your mark on Ashland High School like no other. We are changed for the better because of you, and I will always be grateful to you for that.
There's a sign in Ashland High School, and I don't know if everyone has seen it, but it quotes Vince Lombardi. And what it says is, the only place you find success before work is in the dictionary. So in order for you to be successful, commit to something, use passion, and commit everything you have to it. This is my simple message today. Strive to do what is right and just for all, and you will make the world a better place.
I like learning. I like learning in every aspect of my life, whether it's something vital, like current events, news in the scientific community, world-changing information, or something less vital, like local gossip. But learning is how you grow up. Not by combing your hair all nice, not by wearing your suit and tie and going to work. It's learning, and it's never too late to learn.
As we branch out into our new lives, we can instead try to look at the great unknown future with renewed optimism. Optimism is like investing in a stock. There's a greater risk of vulnerability and a greater potential for reward. Because being optimistic means that you care and that you're willing to put in the effort to try.
The most important words I can come up with today are lyrics from a song from a country singer, Tim McGraw. Always stay humble and kind. We wish you all beautiful futures, and we're so proud of you and proud of the education that we offer here in Ashland. Have a great time celebrating.
Do everything they can to make smart choices, informed, decisive choices. And then once that choice is made, work really hard to make that choice the right one. The moment, the exact moment that diploma is put in your hands, the next stage of your life begins. And the choices you make from that moment on will define your future.
Having met all of the graduation requirements set forth by the Ashland Public Schools, I ask you to take your tassels and move them to the left side. I now pronounce you the 143rd graduated class of Ashland High School.
Fourscore and 7 years ago, our fathers brought forth on this continent a new nation, conceived in liberty and dedicated to the proposition that all men are created equal. Now we are engaged in a great civil war, testing whether that nation, or any nation, so conceived and so dedicated can long endure.
Well, welcome back to Around the Clock. We are ready to take you on our Around the Town tour. We are going to start our Around the Town tour at the Memorial Day services held at the American Legion. Unfortunately, it was a rainy Memorial Day, so the parade itself that usually starts at Wildwood Cemetery and walks into downtown did have to get canceled. They consolidated all the services and all the speakers, and they were all held at the American Legion. Despite the rain, there was a great turnout by some Boy Scouts and Girl Scouts that were there in celebration of Memorial Day, and also a lot of residents just coming to hear the speakers and to commemorate the work and the sacrifice by many, many people. Memorial Day is a service where we think about those who have worn the uniform but have not been able to return home.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming?
That gives me great pleasure to announce and introduce you our Grand Marshal for today's parade, Jack Kennedy. Jack is a decorated World War II Navy veteran. His decorations include the Philippine Liberation Ribbon with Star, the Philippine President's Citation World War II Victory Ribbon, America Theater Ribbon, and the Asiatic Pacific Ribbon with 2 battle stars. Please welcome Jack Kennedy.
Fourscore and 7 years ago, our fathers brought forth on this continent a new nation, conceived in liberty and dedicated to the proposition that all men are created equal. Now we are engaged in a great civil war, testing whether that nation, or any nation, so conceived and so dedicated can long endure.
As the veterans amongst us know, when a soldier dies on the battlefield, it's his battle buddy's responsibility to bring him back to the base. It's our responsibility, the rest of us here safely in America, it's our responsibility to forever pay tribute and honor and remember that person. For that's what gives him the courage to continue fighting on, to continue fighting the good fight on behalf of all of us, is the knowledge that he will forever be remembered. And so,
Bunker, Jerry W.
Deceased, sir.
DeSalvo, John V.
Deceased, sir.
Dion, Robert A.
Deceased, sir.
Fox, Gregory G.
Deceased, sir.
Garbarino, Charles A.
Deceased, sir.
Healy, John J.
Deceased, sir.
Hebb, Douglas E.
Deceased, sir.
Kenyon, John R.
Deceased, sir.
Kinder, Thomas F.
Deceased, sir.
Lamberding, Frank R.
Deceased, sir.
Porter, Ralph C.
Deceased, sir.
Saunders, Francis L.
Deceased, sir.
Syriac, Richard J.
Deceased, sir.
Squillis, Frank.
Deceased, sir.
Tefero, John F.
Deceased, sir.
Witchenbach, James.
Deceased, sir.
It is the purpose of the Commander-in-Chief to inaugurate this observance with hope that it would be kept up from year to year. While the survivor of the war remains to honor the memory of his departed comrades, he earnestly desires the public press to lend its friendly aid in bringing to the notice of comrades in all parts of the country in time for simultaneous compliance therewith. Department commanders will use their efforts to make this order effective. By order of John A. Logan, Commander-in-Chief, M.P. Chipman, Adjutant General. Official, William T. Collins, AAG.
God bless America, my home, sweet home. God bless America, my home, sweet